Welcome back to the Information Week News Desk, coming to you live from Interop ITX in Las Vegas. I'm Lenny Liebman. Our next guest is Kevin Kinsey, CEO of Netreo. It's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you, Lenny.
So I want to talk to you about management. We've got more stuff to manage. We have probably fewer people to manage it with. Can you just talk about kind of what this issue we have with both making sure things are up and running, but I think more and more also what our service levels are and what the actual end user experience is? Talk to me about what that problem looks like.
I think as networks have grown more complicated and there's more and more thrown at today's administrators, getting a single pane of glass view that paints a picture, clear picture of what everything's doing has become even more key. Now you've got IoT environments, you've got the network, you've got the application experience, you've got all your cloud providers. How do we manage and how do we get that in one single pane of glass so that we can make the right decision, so we can see in a real-time sense when things go sideways?
Yeah.
That's the question that we're in the business of answering.
And when you talk about multiple cloud providers, we also have a much more dynamic environment where our services, we're rolling out new services, they traverse different pieces of infrastructure at different times, and bottlenecks can come up anywhere.
Right.
So how do I figure that out when I've also got a pretty segmented technology group, because I have network people and sys people and code people. Talk to me about
a lot of fiefdoms.
A lot of fiefdoms.
There's a lot of fiefdoms that own their
I
different
like
areas.
Yes.
So, yeah, we try to deal with that. Our product is called OmniCenter. It's an appliance-based solution. It's deployed at the core of the environment. It really finds everything intelligent across the overall environment.
Okay.
So you're looking at the networks, you're looking at systems, you're looking at all the applications, you're looking at cloud providers. Heck, you're looking at the user experience. And you're modeling that and giving a view into how that's all working in a real-time sense. So to the extent that you have these different fiefdoms that have their different areas and things that they have to do, really what we're trying to accomplish is to tie that together in a cohesive, consolidated solution that gives everybody the answers they're looking for. So the virtualization people are happy, the server folks are happy, the application folks are happy. It really starts to remove a lot of the finger pointing and puts everybody on the same page.
Yeah. But unless I'm a greenfield organization, I've probably got some investment in a certain amount of tools, and then investment's not only a financial investment, there's a certain amount of even brand loyalty, right? People have some of these things tattooed on their arm, like that's who they've been working with. So how do you make the argument for displacement?
There's a couple of different angles. The first one would be consolidation. If you've got N number of touch points, you've got all these different silo products that are pointed towards different areas of the environment, you're spending money and time and resources on each one of these. You got to remember each one of those footprints has got its own footprint in terms of life cycle. So patching, rev updates, backups, maintenance, all that kind of stuff is on your team's plate. So to get away from that, you know, it's never a greenfield opportunity to answer your question. And to get away from that and consolidate into one high quality product that knocks out 90% of what you need to do with 10% of the workload. That's really the value proposition that we bring to this market.
Right, and it's not only my present pain point, the future looks worse in terms of dynamism and complexity and the importance of rapid performance on my application.
Yeah, it's not going to get any more simple, that's for sure.
Right,
Yeah.
So are you guys sort of set up and geared up for not only to take care of my problem today, but also to help me kind of what's coming up in the future, again, with multiple clouds, containerization, all these things that are going to make me more complex and dynamic?
Our cloud game plan is pretty significant and robust. We've got a cloud-based offering called Netreo Cloud that we just released to the marketplace. Patent pending approach, it came out last summer. It's pretty exciting. So it basically sets up a secure central repository for all things OmniCenter in the cloud, distributed around the planet. So media components like device pollers and reports and template libraries, that kind of thing is all kept securely in the cloud. You pull them down on an as-needed basis when you need them. And it really makes for a lot cleaner interface. You can also use that to run checks from the remote presence. So maybe you're here in Vegas and you've got a big Vegas data center. It's not really all that interesting to see what the core web-based applications look like for folks in Vegas, which is where the core system is typically deployed. How's that look? Maybe you got a big set of stakeholders out in the Central European marketplace. So what does it look like for them from a user response time interval? So you can leverage Netreo Cloud to do that kind of thing. You can also use it to establish and promote a mobility game plan that we've got in place called OmniCenter Mobile. So I think cloud, and the reason I went down the cloud discussion there, cloud is undoubtedly one of the most interesting things.
Right.
It's what everybody wants to talk about here. I think to the extent that you're embracing that and coming up with a kind of a thought leadership role in terms of how to deploy the cloud, not be reliant on the cloud, but to leverage the cloud. And that's really the game plan that we've taken. You could say the same thing about IoT and a number of different cutting edge technologies that are coming down the pike.
It sounds to me from what you're describing that I might also be able to capture some user experience and mobility metrics that are not only important for me internally to manage my organization and get everything right, but I may need to report upward and outward because I'm looking to get some funding, I'm looking to let people know, even marketing people know, like if we have this much of a hit on performance here, then this is what we experience in terms of revenue. For the same
Typically
event?
what we see is there's a lot of different ecosystems across any given company that we work with
that
are all going to be leveraging OmniCenter. So there might be the marketing team that you mentioned, it might be a user community, it might be it might be an intranet application that tracks the user experience for all the different users that's going on in the background. You want to make sure that you've got real-time visibility into that. With OmniCenter, it's really easy to set up custom dashboards for all those individual groups. So the marketing team has got something that's going to be important for them. The user community might have some simple roll-up that shows them what their experience looks like globally to key web-facing assets or to the infrastructure. So those are, you can set those up on an as-needed basis. The CIO, meanwhile, kind of sees the overall health index of how all the different gears and pulleys are working away. And the folks that are a lot more in the weeds, the network administrators, the people that are actually doing the heavy lifting and making sure the network is up and operational, sysadmins, NOC personnel, whatever that might be, they've got a much more granular view that really helps them to drive that environment. OmniCenter is geared towards satisfying the needs of all those user communities.
Yeah, so do you see a particular type of organization? I mean, if somebody's watching this and they feel like they're a little bit interested in some sort of unification and simplification, do you target any particular either size or structure or type of company?
I would say that we're very active in the enterprise sector. We've got, at one point we counted it up, I think we had 60 of the Fortune 1000 companies using the product. We're also very active in the mid-market space, so that in terms of size, it's kind of got to be a large enough environment, there's enough mission critical things going on that they can afford to, and it makes sense, and it monetizes to put in an enterprise class monitoring tool. So there's a typical size, you've probably got multiple locations, you've got a lot of mission critical requirements. That's kind of the common scope and theme. As far as vertical markets that we're active in, education's always been a really active market for us, Healthcare, insurance, those are banking, those are 4 of our key vertical markets. Yeah,
it's interesting, worth taking a look. Thanks for telling us about it.
Absolutely.
So that's Kevin Kinsey of Netreo, but don't leave us just yet. We've got more iWeek News Desk interviews coming up for you right after this.